Hi everyone, welcome to another Big Brother Hangout with Sarah Yell. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that we missed a week last week, but we're back and we're a little day late, but that's okay. And well, Big Brother is something else right now, right? Like, we have a fake double eviction, we have people coming back in the house, we have drama, lying, thruples being broken up. It's been a tough week for Big Brother. And then, of course, the controversy of I don't know if controversy is the right word, but the production's decision to not include feeds, which as a feed watcher was very upsetting to me, which I guess I just kind of want to start with that, is that I believe Big Brother should never limit the feeds for the viewers because there's people like me that watch the show strictly because of the feeds. Like that to me is what makes Big Brother so appealing is that you don't really have as much outside influence because you can actually see it for your own eyes, which is different than other shows which are so edited and it's like sometimes like let's talk about Survivor. You're rooting for your favorite person, then all of a sudden like a year later you find out they did all these awful things on the show that production just chose to hide and sweep under the rug. But with Big Brother, there's no hiding. Like the audience knows Big Brother and America is watching. And so for production to take away the feeds for the entire weekend, I just really didn't think that was a good choice because it wasn't fair to the people that need the feeds and rely on the feeds. And I don't know if it was because they wanted some big surprise for the episode and have people be forced to watch the episode if they didn't have the feeds, but I'm actually curious how the ratings even were because personally that just makes me not want to watch the episode. Like if you're going to limit my feeds experience, then I'm going to boycott your show as I do with a lot of shows, which I'm sure that my one viewership is not hurting, I guess it's not CBS Global Canada too badly, but still I was very disappointed in their decision to cut the feeds. And then you bring back the feeds and all they're doing is like counting raccoons. Like what? After all this drama, like probably, I think we all assumed that Jed was coming back. And so we were expecting all this feeds drama. So to like take that away from us as a viewing audience, not a happy camper. But as we watched the last episode, I guess the whole Jed week was kind of sad for me, just because I've gotten kind of attached to these people, and I really think they're all nice people, even though Ty is really kind of becoming a bit of a villain, as we've seen. He's quite manipulative, which I appreciate as a Big Brother viewer. But Jed obviously had no idea that he was going home until later. And then I just can't imagine, like, like obviously, I feel like everyone that ends up on these shows has a big ego because how else would you get on the show without having the confidence to go through the process? But Jed, I think, has a big ego. So to like be so confident in your relationships, to literally play the veto on someone else, which his argument didn't make sense to me. He was like, I always put the sunsetters first. But I don't understand why use it on Beth, because if you're a sunsetter, then shouldn't the same argument apply? Like if you use the veto on yourself and you come off, aren't you a voting number for the sunsetters and you could have kept Beth safe? I just I just really don't understand. And for those who are watching at home, if you ever end up on the show, always play the veto on yourself if you're on the block. And also, I would even argue always play it on your ally if they're on the block because you never know what the real plan is. People are manipulative, people lie on Big Brother. You can't trust anyone. So to be so content, like to be so even if you're so confident in your alliance, like let's say this scenario, the people voting are your showmans, your best friend, and someone who you've worked with the whole game. I get why he was confident. I get it. But like what's the point? Is it just like the romance? And I don't even get the point of the move. Like how is it a move to save Beth over yourself? Like how is that a big move? I just don't even understand how that has any sort of value to a jury besides making you look worse. Besides the fact that what you don't care about the money enough that you're going to really risk your game over someone else. Like you have that cocky that you really think you're fine. And as Jed sadly saw, he was not fine. They all turned on him because they thought he was a threat to win. And so, as we saw, Jed went home. And then immediately, Arissa, her gorgeous and lovely self, comes on and goes, House guests, it's actually a double eviction. Which, I don't know. Is it a double eviction if someone immediately comes back in? I don't know. Especially, I guess it's a double eviction. but it's not. Well, it is a double eviction. They kept kind of like a fake double eviction, which is confusing to me because was it not a double eviction with just the battle back? But oh well. But so obviously they have the double eviction. Ty wins and puts up Beth and Tara, and then Brayden wins the veto. And I was really excited because I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be exciting. Brayden's gonna use it on Tara, and then we're gonna get either Kiefer or Beth out. But no, I forget that Brayden and Ty, I think, really do have such a close relationship in more ways than one this season. But I think they've really solidified themselves as potentially final twos even. But because Ty was HOH, Brayden did not use the veto. And I was also surprised by Kiefer's decision, which I guess how many people were voting? I guess this was final 5. And so 2 people on the block, HOH. So I guess it didn't matter because I was thinking for Kiefer's game, I believe Kiefer is closer to Tara than Beth. But if Brayden wasn't willing to flip on Ty, then I think Kiefer had to vote Tara out because with the tie, Ty would have broken the tie anyway. So it didn't really, Ty broke the tie. So it didn't really matter. But that's where we're at on this week. So then Tara obviously goes and then immediately goes to the HOH room and talks to Jedson and tells him all the tea. Like tells him, no, it wasn't a last minute decision. You were the vote the whole week and things like that. And so I was excited. I was like, Jed is going to come into this house with a vengeance, which I don't know if it would have been. I don't know what would have been the better outcome for it, honestly, because I like the idea of Jed coming in for the drama, but for the actual final 5, final 4, whatever, how it's going to play out, I think Jed's always going to be the easy target. If anything, Jed in the game makes it more likely that Kiefer makes it to the end. And I think if Kiefer makes it to the end, then it's an easy win. Because Kiefer, I think, beats anyone. Or not easy win, but it's just predictable, And I think there's a chance they would have gone after Jed over Kiefer if he happened to go back in. But if Tara comes back in, then that mixes up the house a bit because Kiefer and Tara have a good relationship. And then who's the biggest target now in the house? Is it Beth? Is it Kiefer? Is it Ty? According to the players, just not biggest target. Like, I don't think they're currently going off of biggest target for like who's most likely to win. I think they're going with biggest target as in who's going to keep me from the final 2 seat. I think that's where they're at right now. And Kiefer, weirdly, is in a really good position because I think a lot of people need Kiefer to make it to the end right now. Like Tara needs Kiefer. I think Brayden feels like he needs Kiefer. Even Ty, I think Ty, Kiefer, and Brayden right now are very much a final 3. And then, of course, they're going to cut Kiefer at final 3 if they can. But there's just a lot of scenarios about how this end game is going to play out, which I'm going to go through on my notes. And so, yeah, as we saw on Monday, we see that we finally get to see this competition play out. And it really was surprising. The fact that Jed was killing Tara with the ball rolling, which is it hard to roll a ball? I guess. It looked pretty hard. I'm really curious how long the competition lasted. But the fact that Jed was so close and then Tara just pew, 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 came in and sniped him at the end. So Tara ended up coming back into the house. And all of a sudden, Tara, this girl who probably on day 2, I said, you know what? Tara has 0 chance of winning. Of everyone in the house, I thought Tara had the least chance of winning. And all of a sudden, Tara right now actually has kind of a resume. Like, we'll go through the jury predictions in a bit because I have it all ready to go. But I just think Tara right now, if Tara wins out and just kind of does her thing and wins a bunch of competitions, it's just so interesting. I just think that they all have resumes. And so it's going to be so interesting to see how the jury plays out. Like, are they going to go off of gameplay? Are they going to go off relationships? Which we've heard some different things. I've watched some of Taryn Armstrong's interviews with the people when they get eliminated, and they do rank the people based on how they would vote. But I do think that there's a chance that that could change. Like, I remember like when Spicy V went out, she had Tara ranked really low, but does she still have Tara ranked really low? I'm not sure because Tara's been playing the game. I'm proud of her. I wish that Gonjo was here right now because he has been the biggest Tara stan, and I've kind of been like, okay, Tara. But all of a sudden, Tara really has a chance, which is so funny to me. So yeah, right now, Brayden also, I think as of right now, I would say Brayden has the weakest resume, but he all of a sudden is picking it up and winning all these comps at the end. And it's like, is it too little too late? Or does even Brayden have a chance? I don't know, because he had some really close connections. But I think some of the later juror members didn't really respect his game as much. But now, as we know, Brayden won the HOH and he put up Beth and Tara. And then I believe Brayden also won the veto. So as of right now, I think Beth just feels like she's a dead woman walking. I think she's just kind of moping around. But which is really interesting to me because as of right now, I think Tara is a bigger threat to win than Beth, which I'll go over the jury analysis. So maybe I'll disagree with that once I really look at the jury breakdown. But Tara and Beth are kind of equals in my mind for who's more likely. I don't know. I just think Tara has. It's just going to depend on the juries, like who's in the jury. But I really think that Tara now has a chance to win, especially if she's against Beth. But as we know, I guess there's no way they can go to the end together. But a Tara versus Brayden, a Beth versus Brayden, I'm not really sure what happens. So I'm gonna start the PowerPoint now because I just really want to get into this jury, just really deciphering the jury and how it's gonna go. So share screen. Here we go. Just give me a second. Okay, here we are. Okay, so here is another. Let's try to. If we can drink this a bit. Does that look better? Oh, whoops. Oh, whatever. Okay. There we go. That a little bigger? That's a little bigger. Okay. So the first matchup that I'm going to kind of compare right now is, we're going to start with the one I was just talking about, Beth versus Tara. So this is interesting. So I actually just watched Jed's interview, and Jed had Beth as his number 2 for who he would vote for. And I think they worked really closely. So I think that Jed would vote for Beth. I think that's pretty obvious. I think that Tina votes for Tara because the same way they worked closely together, I think Tina and Tara worked very closely together. I think Kiefer also votes for Tara because I think they also worked really closely together, even though he has a good relationship with Beth. I think Ty's got to vote for Beth too. I think they worked closely together and they'll probably go that direction. But now this is where it gets a little interesting. Brayden and Beth have a decent relationship, and so does Tara and Brayden. I don't think Spicy V likes Beth. I don't think she likes Tara either, but gosh, it's like they had that argument at the end of the house, and Spicy V thought that, gosh, which way does she go? I think Spicy V really values the boys' opinion, so I think she might do what the boys want to do. So I think she might vote Beth, but I don't think she's going to be happy about it. Oh gosh. Okay, we'll put her with Beth, but I don't think she's going to be happy about it. Roe's another weird one. I think that Roe might go Tara. And so I think that Brayden's going to end up being the swing vote. And I think he could go either way, but I think Beth beats Tara. I think it's going to be close, but I think if it's Beth versus Tara, I think that Beth might win, which is really interesting. Okay, next up we have Tara versus Kiefer. So this is the problem with Kiefer is Kiefer beats everyone. I truly believe that. So I don't know if there's anyone that Tara, it might be unanimous, honestly. Because who would Tara get? Tara could get Tina, but Tina has a good relationship with Kiefer, and I think that Tina would vote game over relationships. And so I think Kiefer beats Tara unanimously. I really do. Who's next? Kiefer versus Ty. See, this is the problem. You would think, who would Ty get that Kiefer doesn't get? You would think Jed, but Jed just spoke on with Taran Armstrong's interview, and he said he would vote Kiefer number 1. So who votes for Ty over Kiefer? And I just don't think anyone does. Maybe Beth, actually, and Brayden. Okay, you know what? I think Brayden would go over social. We might give Brayden a Ty vote, and maybe Beth a Ty vote. I don't think it's going to be unanimous, actually. I don't think that Ty would vote for Kiefer over Ty because I think they have such a good relationship. And I think Beth is probably the same way. But it's still 5-2 is a pretty good win. I think that with Kiefer and Ty, it's 5-2. Let's look at Ty and Braden. See, this one is very, very interesting. It's definitely going to be a toss up. So I think that Ro and Spicy V both vote for Braden. I think they have a really good relationship. I think that Beth votes for Ty. I think Kiefer votes for Ty, and I think Jed votes for Ty. But this is when it gets interesting, is the Tina and Tara. I think this pair is going to decide who wins, and I think they're probably going to vote the same here. And Tina might even take Tara's opinion on this for who's played the better game. But as of this point in the game, I think that they would think that Ty played a stronger game. I think that Braden loses to Ty 5-2, which once again is a pretty strong win. But and maybe this is my ideal final two, because I, since the beginning, have been saying that I would love a Ty win. I think Ty would be a great winner for this season. I think he's played really well. I think he's played strong. I don't think he has too much of a target where there's a chance he can get to the end. And I think that he wants to take Braden to the end. So this is a very possible final two. And I think this is how it's going to break down. Okay, next we have Braden and Tara. So this one is going to be very interesting. So in Jed's interview, Jed actually said that he thinks that he had Braden ranked last. He doesn't think Braden's done enough. Not Tina. They're the same person. Just kidding. Tara has made those big moves. Tara has gotten out some big targets. I just think there's a very good chance that Tara could beat Braden here. But who? Let's see. Spicy V votes for Braden. Ro votes for Braden. Ooh, get over there, Ro. But who else votes? Oh, Tina will vote for Tara. I think Kiefer votes for Tara. And now we see Beth and Ty as kind of the swing votes. I think Ty votes for Braden. So then it comes down to Beth. Gosh, in a Braden Tara final two, I think that Beth would be the swing vote, which is so funny. And I think that Beth would value Jed's opinion more. I think Tara beats Braden 4-3. That would be an interesting final two. And I don't even know how it would get there. I guess it would have to be Braden, Ty, and Tara. And I think Tara would have to win and take Braden, because I think Braden would take Ty. So I think the only scenario this happens in is if Tara wins the final HOH and takes Braden over Ty. Or Kiefer. It could be any, or Beth even. It could be any of them. But I think Tara takes Beth, though, maybe. I think that she thinks she could beat Beth over. I don't know. But I think that Tara wins here. Wow. I think Tara beats Braden. This isn't looking good for Braden. I'm not really giving Braden much hope right now. But yeah, I think that Tara beats Braden 4-3. And that's who she should take to the end. Well, currently, I guess. What else has she done? Have we seen her do anyone else? Yeah, we had her lose to Beth, but I think she beats Braden here. So now let's go Tara versus Ty. So, okay. Oh, gosh, this is hard. I think Tina votes for Tara. I think Vic votes for Ty. Ro, oh gosh. Jed was interesting. Jed on the interview with Taryn said that he feels that Tara and Ty are equal for who deserves his vote, which was so interesting that he wasn't automatically on the Ty train. I think he'd end up on the Ty train, though, even if he wasn't there now. I think Beth is there. Braden's there. Kiefer's probably there. Kiefer likes Tara, but I think he respects Ty more. And Ro is probably here too. I think Ty beats Tara kind of a landslide. I think it's gonna be 6-1. Which is it's just so interesting that like who the players have such different relationships that it doesn't really matter. It's not like who's playing the better game that they're gonna always win. It's just depending on who they are for how the jury breakdown works, which is so interesting. Because there's people who I think would go the other way just based on who's there, because they have such close relationships with different people. Okay, so now we're Ty and Beth. So Jed said that he would vote for Beth. I think Spicy V votes for Ty. I think Kiefer votes for Ty. Brayden votes for Ty. I think Tara votes for Beth. I think Tara would respect Beth's game. And it's also going to be interesting that Jed right now has Beth as the number 2, which on paper, I think that Beth does have a good resume. But the problem is, I don't think the jury necessarily respects her. So it's going to be interesting. I think Jed going to jury was the best thing for Beth because now Jed is someone who can vouch for Beth and maybe get other people on the Beth train. Ro, I don't know which way Ro would go. Ro would, gosh. Oh gosh, these are hard. I don't know where Tina and Ro's head would go here. Let's do Tina for Beth. And let's go Ro for Ty. And I think Ty wins 4-3. I think it would be close though. I think Ty versus Beth would be a showdown. I don't think it would be a landslide. I think it's hard because Ty has such a good social game, but Beth has made some big moves. And it's just kind of like it's gonna depend on the end game. Because if Beth somehow survives the week and then just wins a bunch of competitions, it could become a landslide for Beth. Who knows? There's a lot of game. Well, there's not a lot of game left, but there's still game left, and it's just I think it's still up in the air. But I think Ty beats Beth. So Beth versus Kiefer. So for this one, I think it's going to be another. Oh, it didn't work. It's going to be another. Sorry about that. I think just everyone votes for Kiefer. I think it's going to be unanimous. I don't think Beth takes any votes away because the only people who she might have over Kiefer, you would think Jed, but Jed already said that he's going to vote for Kiefer over Beth. And I don't think there's anyone else that would. Because, okay, this is the problem with Kiefer, is he's playing the game strong. He's won competitions. He has a great social game. People are aware of his game and see it and understand it. But not only that is he has a good story. It's like you want to give him the money at the end. And if Kiefer's there, do you really like who would you rather give money to? Kiefer, who's going to help his family? He's going to, actually use the money and be appreciative of the money, or Beth, who, no offense to Beth, but she's probably just going to like put it in her savings, like be like, oh, I can buy, I don't know, like just have the money. I don't think Beth needs the money necessarily as much as Kiefer does. And so it's like you want to vote for Kiefer. I know that shouldn't matter. Like you should vote for a person based on gameplay probably, and that might be considered bitter. But still, it's like, who would you rather have represent your season? A Beth or a Kiefer? And I think there's an obvious answer there. Okay, the next one is Kiefer versus Brayden. So Victoria and Ro had said before that they would also vote for Kiefer over Brayden, but then they had Brayden number 2. So if that's still true, if we can still believe that, then once again, I think that's going to be unanimous for Kiefer. I think Kiefer beats Brayden 7-0. Yeah, Ty and Brayden have a good relationship. I know, I think that Ty, it's just like, everyone respects Kiefer's game so much. And so if you vote for the other person, you're just going to feel kind of bitter. So I think that Kiefer wins unanimously here against Brayden. I don't think Brayden's played as strong of a game as Kiefer. I think the house guests agree with that. And so and even if Brayden wins out, it's going to feel like he had to, and he was only playing for other people. I don't think people give him credit for any of his moves. I think that they just think that he's playing for other people. And so I think that Kiefer wins unanimously against Brayden. So now's the fun one, right? Brayden versus Beth. Opposite sides of the house, different relationships. Let's see. We give Spicy V and Ro vote for Brayden. I think that's a given. I think Jed votes for Jed votes for Beth. I think Ty votes for Brayden. So now this is when it gets interesting. I think Tina and Tara vote for Beth. But Kiefer here is the swing vote. And I think Kiefer votes for Beth. I think Beth beats Brayden 4-3. Which that one, maybe you disagree with. Maybe Kiefer would vote for Brayden, but... And is that the same as what do we do for Tara and Brayden? What did we say it was? Oh, for Tara and Brayden, it was the same. I did the exact same votes, but that one was a little easier because I'm pretty sure Kiefer and Tina and Jed would all vote for Tara. Beth was the swing vote. For this one, I think there's a lot more swing votes and a lot more up in the air besides Jed. I'm not sure if Tina would actually vote for Beth. I'm not sure if Tara would vote for Beth, and I'm not sure if Kiefer would vote for Beth. So the Brayden Beth and the Brayden Tara are the same vote, but I think that Beth is a little more on edge. So I think for Brayden, I think the best person for Brayden to bring to the end is Beth, because I think he would have his best chance against Beth just based on the house guest makeup. Because even though I think Beth is arguably playing a stronger game than Tara, I think Tara had more solid connections with people like Tina and Kiefer and is more guaranteed to get their vote. And even Jed had Brayden ranked last. And so I think that Tara is more likely to beat Brayden than Beth is to beat Brayden. So Brayden should be taking Beth to the end, but I don't think he sees it that way, especially since he's getting her out this week. He wants to get out the person who arguably he has the best chance of being at the end. And that's kind of sad to me on like a strategic level. I really think Brayden is just playing Ty's game right now. And I don't think that, like, that's what I hate when people, I feel like Brayden is sheeping right now. And that's what I hate. I hate when people sheep because it's like, yeah, Brayden, you might get to the final two. You might get there. But what's the point of getting there if you don't win? Does he think he loses to everyone and maybe just getting the partial money is worth it? I don't know. It's going to be really hard for Brayden to win, though. And I think his best shot to win was against Beth, just based on this. And now Beth is most likely going to go home this week, so we can't even salvage that. Okay, so now here we're doing our classic BB tier list as we do every week. And I think since there's 5 people left, I think I just want to rank them in terms of who's going to win. And I have the current jury over here just so I can think about it. But based on what we just did, Kiefer's most likely to win. I think Kiefer beats everyone in the game. And I think that's a given. And on the same wavelength, I think Brayden is least likely to win. Right now, I don't know if Brayden can beat a single person left. I don't think he can. It would be close with Tara and Beth, but I still think Tara and Beth beat him because I think they've played stronger games. And like I said, there's game left to play, but I don't think Brayden is thinking with his head. I think he's just doing what Ty wants, and that's not a great thing. Ty has such a good social game, and I think the way that he's been able to really utilize Brayden has been amazing and so good for his game. So let's just go back up here and let me just see. I think Ty is the second. I think Ty is next. Yeah, and I gave Ty some votes over Kiefer, so I think Ty has the next best chance of winning. I'll put Ty right here. And then for the girls, oh gosh, it's just such a toss-up. Because if they go against each other, I think Beth wins. But on their own, Beth is more likely to lose, I think, than Tara is sometimes. But still, the fact they go head-to-head, just if they happen to go head-to-head, and I think the fact that Jed is in the jury now rooting for Beth, I think that's going to be really good for her. So we'll go this. I think Kiefer is most likely to win. Well, as of right now, like if he gets to the end. They're going to have to cut him, though. But I think Kiefer, Ty, Beth, Tara, Brayden. And that is strictly based on if they get to the end. The path to the end, I don't know. Everyone thinks Kiefer wins. And so he's going to become a target eventually. But even though they kind of need him right now, and Ty is the same way. Ty is a target, but also like people like Brayden and Kiefer need Ty in the game. I think especially Kiefer needs Ty because Ty's the only person that maybe he could convince people is a bigger target than him and not take him. But that's where I think it stands right now. Rest in peace, our beautiful jury members. But yeah, that's what I have for that. So this was kind of a short one, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick update where I'm at, where I think the jury is going to be at. Hopefully we'll see if my predictions are right in the end. And also, there's still time to change. No, there's Tara right now. Tara has some momentum. If Tara keeps going, I think Tara has a chance. They got to get out Kiefer. They got to get out Ty. But after that, with Tara, Beth, and Brayden, I really think it could be a toss-up just depending on the end game. And yeah, that's all I got. But my social is Sarah Yell06 on Twitter. You can follow me, and I'll post a lot of updates about Silent Podcast. I know Silent Podcast has a lot of other fun podcasts going on. They're doing some Disney Channel original movies, which is really fun. Our other Big Brother podcast is always on Friday. We have, I think, Anime Club and Temptation Island, and just a lot of fun podcasts ready for your viewing eyes or ears. But yeah, have a great week, everyone, and I'll see you next week.